What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Chatter from the Cheap Seats. I am Jack. Sitting next to me is Sammy, and we're going to talk sports, more sports, and even more sports. Who knows? We might even talk some cricket. Probably not, though. Sammy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very good. It's been a good week, and I don't want to do too much self-promo here, but I'm a musician. You can probably tell if you're watching on YouTube by all the instruments behind me. I just released a new single like last week on Thursday. So if you're listening to the podcast, go check that out. That's what's going on. That's been a big fun thing. It's been a project I've been working on for quite a long time. So yeah, very exciting to finally release it. So listen to this first, get to the end, then you got to go check out my new single. It's called Make the Best. So check it out. That's what's going on with me. A little self promo there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, check out Sammy's music. It is really good. And I'm not just saying that because he's my co-host. I'm also sort of in the band. I'm an honorary member of the band.
He is. He's honorary podcast.
I'm an honorary podcast member. I'm basically the lead singer. Like when they record in the studio, I'm like the guy. I'm like, okay, boom, Sammy, go get me a drink. Everybody, you guys can leave, take a nice stroll. I record all the music by myself. And then they add like one word in at the end. They're like DJ Khaled pretty much, except they don't do the actual producing. They're just like, Sammy's just like
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. And then he just leaves and I record like the entire song. So I'm basically the band. Like,
Jack's the
I'm basically Carousel.
Yeah, no. But yeah, for my single, it was, I did all the instruments I did here, got my keyboards and my guitars and my bass. So I mean, that was fun. So I would very much appreciate it. You guys check that out. It's my other thing I do, a lot of music. So, Jack, how are you doing? It's a Monday. It's the beginning of another week, or almost. It's almost a year since this whole COVID thing has been a thing. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. I am so ready for this week to be over, and it is Monday night.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a fun week. Let me tell you, I am getting so ready for like a break from school, and spring break is it's at that point now where spring break is too far away to talk about it. It's like you can't look at your calendar because then you're going to be depressed by how far away it is.
Okay.
But it's not, there's no other breaks that are close. So that's the next one. That's what you have to keep your eyes on.
Yeah.
But it's so far away that you can't even comprehend that like there is a spring break. It's like if you let yourself to comprehend, if you allow yourself to comprehend that there is a spring break, then it's just going to go south and weeks are going to start taking forever. And I think I might have made that mistake. Another thing, Sammy, that Eagles fans would not be able to comprehend a couple years ago is that Carson Wentz traded to the Colts. The Colts receive Carson Wentz. The Eagles receive a 2021 third-round pick and a 2021 second-round pick, but it's conditional, and it can turn into a first if Wentz plays 75% of the Colts snaps or 70% if Colts make the playoffs. So, personally for me, I think that the Colts won the trade just because they didn't give away a big pick. Like, yes, the first-round pick, it could turn into a first-round pick. It's not like it's going to be a high pick because the Colts are a very good team. The potential of Carson Wentz that he can turn back into what he once was, because quarterbacks like what he was, quarterbacks like that do not come around very often. They do not get traded like ever. Like Deshaun Watson, maybe, but like it happens maybe once every 5 years that a quarterback of Carson Wentz caliber, and I'm talking about old Carson Wentz, not this season Carson Wentz, gets put on the market. And I also think if he's going to succeed anywhere, it's going to be in Indianapolis where he's with Frank Reich. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a solid defense. He has some good weapons in T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle. If he's gonna succeed anywhere, it's gonna be here because if they can't fix him in Indy, nobody's gonna be able to fix him.
I absolutely agree. I think Indianapolis wins this deal, and the Eagles were kind of desperately trying to get him for maybe like more like a first rounder, which it could turn into that depending on his injury status. But I think the Colts win this deal. I mean, you get a guy who has been MVP caliber and still can be. Not only for Carson Wentz was the situation with Doug Peterson horrendous. I mean, they hardly even spoke to each other for the last part of the season. His offensive line last year in Philadelphia was horrendous. Let me run you through his MVP caliber year, 2017. His sack percentage was 6, which is, not great, but it's decent. In 2020, that rose to 10.3%. That is outrageous. You can't really be productive when your offensive line is that bad. And Carson Wentz could have done better. He had a lot of things against him in Philadelphia. He needed to get out of there. There was no way he was going to be successful with this Eagles team. No way. And for the Colts, it's a perfect situation. Not only are you getting reunited with Frank Reich, like Jack already talked about, which is huge because that's who he had success with. You're getting arguably the best offensive line in football, maybe even not arguable. I mean, they have a ton of guys in the O-line, very deep too. I mean, if you talk about if some guys get hurt, Quentin Nelson is an absolute monster. So you got guys that are going to be giving you time up there. You're going to be protected. And the circumstances are right where Carson Wentz could possibly return to form, because I think a lot of it in Philadelphia wasn't all necessarily his fault. There was, like I said, a lot going against Carson Wentz, and I feel bad for him, to be frank, but he has a chance to turn it around.
I agree. I think he will turn it around. 2020 was crazy for everybody. Even though football was a semi-normal season with the same amount of games played, they didn't have OTAs. They had a lot of online meetings. It wasn't the same. Maybe he's a guy who needs those OTAs to get ready. Maybe he wasn't fully prepared for the season. I don't think it's fair to completely judge him off of a COVID season.
Yeah.
However,
absolutely.
he does definitely need to be better. And
Now I have a question, Jack.
yes,
For the Eagles.
normally I ask you the questions.
Yeah,
I
I
like
know,
this.
man.
I like it. You're asking me some questions now.
Yeah. Well, this is a weird situation because Jalen Hurts is a guy who he had a really good game against the Saints, his debut game, his first start. He beat one of the best teams in football with one of the worst teams in football. He really played well. And then the rest of the season was very lackluster for Jalen Hurts, but he showed promise. Do the Eagles run with Jalen Hurts? Do they get another guy to be the starter? Or for me, I think the best bet is to bring in some competition, someone that's maybe, not going to necessarily be the starter, but is going to give Hurts some room to maybe compete for that. I think that's the best route. Where do you think the Eagles are actually going to go in terms of who's going to be their starting quarterback next year?
I agree with you that the best move is to bring in competition for Jalen Hurts. Maybe you bring in somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe I can't see them trading for Sam Darnold just because they don't have the cap room to do it, frankly, because you are going to have to pay Sam Darnold next year and you're not going to have him for 1 year and then release him. But I do think Jalen Hurts ends up being the starter at some point next year. Maybe I think the right thing to do, because I wasn't thinking about this really, but now that I started thinking about it, I'm talking myself into it a little more, is to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick and sort of do a Ryan Fitzpatrick to a situation where Ryan Fitzpatrick starts, and then as the season progresses, you bring in Jalen Hurts.
Forgot his name.
You bring in Jalen Hurts and you're going to have an open competition at the beginning of the year. And if you like Jalen Hurts and he wins that outright, then fine. But I don't think you can just go in with Jalen Hurts. I know Ori's super high on him, but he's only played 4 games? He's not.
Yeah, like 4 or 5.
You can't. I don't think you can count. I mean, I don't think you can't count on him as your starter.
Yeah.
You have to bring in competition. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a perfect guy to bring in there, and he's going to be super effective in pushing Jalen Hurts. And who knows, maybe he plays good and beats Jalen Hurts out for the job.
Yeah, and another thing, do you think the Eagles are going to be trying to compete next year? Because obviously, they haven't been that good of a team. Last year was horrible, but like you were kind of talking about, money-wise, they're not like a rebuilding team. They're not really, they're kind of just in the situation where they were really bad, but they're also one of the more expensive teams in football. So do you think they're going to be spending this offseason like a team that's trying to win that division, which is not out of the question? Any of those teams could win it. It's not that good of a division. Or do you think maybe they try to shave more cap room by making some more trades? I heard they might be cutting Alshon Jeffrey earlier today. There are a lot of different options. It's a very weird situation in Philly. So what do you think is the best bet in terms of, are you trying to compete next year, or are you just rebuilding, trying to develop Hurts and just kind of selling the year.
I don't think they're going to compete next year just because they're not going to be able to bring in any talent in free agency because they literally have no cap room whatsoever. And I don't think they have the pieces around. Their D line is really good. We'll give them that. Fletcher Cox leading the way. They've poured a lot of money into the D line, and it is worth it. It's paying off. Their D line is incredible. It is one of the best in football.
The rest of the defense is not so much.
Their linebacker core is bad. Their secondary is bad. They don't have that good a run game because Miles Sanders can never stay healthy. Their O-line is aging, and it's not good.
Yeah.
At all. Their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is a question mark. Their wide receiver core is not good. So really, it's the D-line is literally the only good thing about this team right now. But the problem is you can't really – it's going to be a long rebuild process. It will be. Yeah. I think if you ask Philly fans, they will say it's worth it because they got that chip.
Do you think they start committing to shaving cap room this offseason? Like, do you think we're going to see a lot of moves, guys, maybe like, Jason Kelce, maybe get shipped off, because I think that could happen. I mean, I can't see any other way if they're going to try to rebuild, because if they don't start it now, it is literally going to take so much time because of all the long-term contracts that they're kind of stuck with.
Yeah, I think that they will start shaving cap room here.
Yeah.
And Sammy, it's sad to think about because football season was such an awesome time, but it's over, Sammy. It's over. And we're transitioning now to the baseball. So
I love it, dude. I'll be honest here. I love every time of year baseball. October's great, midsummer's great, but almost my favorite time of year is spring training, seeing the guys get back out onto the field, pitchers throw their first bullpens, and it's like a fun vibe, not super like competitive, not super tense. It's just chill. It's like, it's so fun. And, obviously I love October. It's great, but spring training is almost vibe-wise my favorite time of year when it comes to baseball. I love it.
I have 3 favorite times of years. I'm ranking them from order of my least favorite to favorite, but obviously I love all of this.
Yes.
So my least favorite out of my 3 is spring training / opening day.
Fair.
My second favorite is March Madness, and my third is October. Nothing can
do with October. I mean, yeah,
nothing beats October. And Sammy, I think October. I have a challenge for myself, and I'm wondering if you will do it with me.
Challenge? Oof, I don't know, man. What is it? What are you proposing here?
On average, how many Cubs games do you think you watch a year?
Well, last year, I will say I watched there were a few I missed, maybe 4 or 5 I missed because
I think I missed one Yankee game all year.
Yeah, I had baseball games. I maybe missed like 3 to 5 games, but besides that, I am there on the couch watching every single Cubs game. 162 game season, I'd say 145 to 155 games. I'm there, depending on how my schedule works out. If there's a game where I don't have anything going on, 100% I'm watching. No way I'm missing. I am devoted to the Cubs. And, even if they're going to be a sub 500 team this year, which is possible, I am just so excited to watch them. I love it. Even if they're going to suck, I love it. I mean, there's nothing better than watching a day game on a weekend at Wrigley Field. Nothing. Well, the only thing better is being there.
Sammy, I would beg to differ. There's nothing better than a night game at Yankee Stadium.
I disagree.
Nothing better. But Sammy, here's the challenge.
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Here's the challenge.
All right.
I challenge you to watch or listen to at least one inning of baseball from the first day of spring training to the last game of the World Series.
I mean, that's honestly, I probably do that anyway. I mean,
I think it's harder than you think, though, because think about it. If the Cubs are off that day, normal base,
I'll usually turn on MLB Network and see what they're airing. Or
that's true. That's true. One full inning, every single day. You can't forget. Okay, from the first spring training game, which is Sunday, by the way. Clap it up. Clap it up. Give me some claps, Sam.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Sunday is the last. Saturday is the last day without a baseball game being played. Hopefully,
until the All-Star break.
Until the All-Star break.
That's exciting, man.
One day,
Yes.
we have to watch every base. If you're watching this on the podcast app, Sammy just let out an electric yes. Yes,
I'm so excited for baseball. I don't know what to tell you. I'm very excited.
Man.
I mean, and this for the
Don't
podcast.
see that every day. Don't see
this
double
is going to be
every day.
This is going to be our first time covering a full season on this podcast. So, I mean, I'm just like after what happened, maybe contemplating not having a season last year and then next year, the CBA, we might get a lockout. Hopefully not, God forbid. But we got to just be grateful for getting a full 162 games. That's why, I think that's worth a double fist bump. I really do think
double, not single, not like a head nod, not like
no, that's
let's go, and it wasn't like a quick short fist, like strong, like it wasn't like he barely moved his arm up, but like you can tell the power. It was like over his head. It was like a Rocky, like a full Rocky. That's what he did. He lifted both arms over his head and he did one violent shake, just a boom, just a over his head. It was Rocky. Sammy is Rocky. Sammy equals Rocky. They're the same person.
Okay,
I don't know what song you were singing, but it is not doo-doo. It's doo-doo-doo-doo. Sammy, you accept this challenge?
I do. I absolutely.
Here we go. I'm so excited
inning of
for baseball to come back
every day.
So excited.
Hopefully, I'll try to watch more than an inning of baseball every day because I mean, I love it. I mean, I just no matter what team's playing, even like I want to try and watch this year some college baseball, and I know they don't televise it too much, but nationally, but I want to get to know some of these college guys and watch some like if the Vandy boys are on or whatever. Jack and I were talking about Jack Leiter before
he
the
is
show.
nasty, man. He was on Pitching Ninja. Oh my god. College baseball, I feel like, is very underrated. Like it doesn't get the national attention that college basketball or college football. And you can say that baseball isn't as popular a sport. And the narrative that baseball is a dying sport is just dumb because people have been saying that for 50 years now, and it's never been the case. But baseball is not as popular as football. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Or even basketball. And actually, that's arguable.
Basketball is probably more popular, but
the ratio to the popularity of MLB compared to the NFL and NBA is much closer than the ratio of college basketball and college football compared to college baseball. Baseball is extremely underrated, Sammy. And you know what else is underrated? The next player that you're going to name, because we are going to go ahead right now and give you some overrated, underrated. Sammy, hit us with your first underrated. You want to do underrated or overrated first? Your choice.
Let's go overrated first.
Overrated first. Okay.
Okay. So this is a segment we did really before sports came back during when COVID was really bad this summer, and we are bringing it back. And I have overrated first, and I'm going to go baseball here. We're doing all sports. Shane Bieber, I'm going to be taking, and I'm not trying to discredit him. He had an incredible stretch, 12 starts, and he was electric. But that's my issue. 12 starts, and people are saying that he is a top 10 guy. And I think he can be. I think he absolutely has the potential to be. But he's not there yet. We cannot, he was really hot for 12 games, but we have to remember he was in the worst offensive division in baseball. The AL Central, really just that whole Central in the AL and the NL was just not good. And those are the guys that Shane Bieber was going up against. The Royals, who were god-awful. The Tigers, who were horrible. The Pirates, and the whole NL Central he goes against. They were not good. And I think we had to take a chill pill. He was fourth highest in exit velo, maybe suggesting that, or exit velo off, his pitches, suggesting that maybe he got a little help from field. Obviously, makes sense. He got Francisco Lindor, middle infield. Probably are going to get some help there.
Wait,
in that department.
You mean like it was bad? Like his exit velo was like the fourth highest average?
Fourth highest exit velo out of any pitcher.
Really? That's
it surprised me as well. Let's see. I don't know if I have the stats still up. Yeah, so it goes Framber Valdez is number 1. Patrick Corbin is 2. Garrett Cole is 3. Surprise, surprise. And Shane Bieber is 4. And a lot of these guys are good pitchers and have been good.
They're all good pitchers, which is shocking. Although they all give up a lot of home runs. Not necessarily Shane Bieber, but Garrett Cole gives up home runs. And home runs aren't going to kill you as long as they're solo shots. So I can understand that. But
Yeah, I mean,
That's fascinating.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think it is very interesting. But Shane Bieber, I'm not trying to discredit what he did, but I think people should take a chill pill when it comes to putting him in the top 10 starting pitchers, because at the end of the day, he's not quite there yet.
Say that
Jack,
one more time for the people. Read that list of exit velo because that is crazy.
yeah. So we got Framber Valdez. His average exit velo is 91.4. Patrick Corbin is number 2 on that list, 90.7. He kind of had not that great of a year. Garrett Cole, who did have a great year, 90.4 exit velo. And number 4, Shane Bieber, 89.3. So it's very, I mean, and you see like Yu Darvish is number 8. Dinelson Lamet is, or Darvish is 9. Lamet is 8. So it's a pretty interesting list. And maybe it's not a stat that, it's obviously not a stat that shows you success, but I think it's very interesting, just looking, if guys are hitting the ball
important.
hard off of you, that's not a great sign. I think you'd rather have a guy who's getting weak contact, like Kyle Hendricks.
Although Shane Bieber's FIP this season, his FIP has always been really solid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that kind of contradicts what I'm saying.
In 2018, he had a 4.55 ERA, which is not good. However, he had a 3.23 FIP, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
and really good. And then 2019, he was super solid pitcher, 3.28 ERA. That's all-star caliber. And then obviously this year, 1.63 ERA. Although I do understand where you are coming at with, I don't think he's a top 3 pitcher in baseball, like some people say. However, I do think he is top 10. I think that's a fair statement to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to put him in the top 10. I just think not yet. I think he still has a little more to prove. And maybe that sounds a little ridiculous because, I mean, that 12-game stretch was absolutely phenomenal. But I think maybe a little tad bit overrated. So that's my guy. Jack, who is your overrated player here today?
My overrated player, Sammy, is Tyler Glasnow.
Ooh.
And he was my dark horse MVP pick, or not MVP, Cy Young pick. Yeah. But, I started diving into his stats a little bit more, and they're very underwhelming because when you hear Tyler Glasnow's name, he's on Pitching Ninja all the time. You think one of the best pitchers in baseball, right?
I wouldn't say I think
one of the best. You think of a top. You think of a top 15 all-star, like all-star caliber pitcher. Like you wouldn't be shocked if he, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
if he made the all-star game, the all-star game in next year, you would not be shocked.
Oh, no, exactly. I mean, he has the capability to do that.
Exactly. 100%. People think of him as one of the best pitchers, a top 15 pitcher in baseball. People think of him as better than one of the best pitchers in the American League. People on par with Lucas Giolito or.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people do. And if you just look at his statistics, in 2020, he had a 4.08 ERA. That's really bad. Not really bad. That's bad. In 2019, he had a 1.78 ERA, but he only pitched 12 games, and then he got hurt, which is really good, but it was only 12 games. And then in 2018, he had a 4.27 ERA, which is not good. And then 2017, obviously, 2016, he was with the Pirates. I mean, 7 ERA, 4 ERA, but I don't really hold that against him.
How are the strikeouts for Glass now? The
strikeouts are super high. Like his K percentage in 2020 was 38%, which is ridiculous. In 2019, it was 33%. 2018, 29%. It's always been super good. Yeah. However, I'm not a huge believer in K percentage just because.
Yeah, I agree.
If you can, get guys out any way you can. I'm not what's the difference between a ground out and a strikeout? Strikeouts are cool.
The difference is less pitch count. You can get guys going more innings.
That's true, but it's not like a huge deal to me. And then his walk percentage in 2018 was 11%, and then 6% in 2019 and 9% in 2020. That's not great.
Yeah, I'll say something here. I mean, I think because we're seeing a lot of these guys, it's a huge trend in the game. High strikeouts, high walks, maybe a lot of home runs, a lot of missed a lot of missed spots, but you're going to be getting those high strikeout rates. And as fun as those guys may be to watch, like I was kind of saying, it raises your pitch count. If you want guys to take you in a playoff game or whatever, or in any game for that matter, 7, 8 innings, take you really deep into games, those strikeouts are not going to be helping. And they're nice, I guess, but I'd almost rather have a guy who will get a lot of weak contact, and that's very hard to do. It's extremely hard to get weak contact. I think it's harder to get a lot of weak contact than to get a lot of strikeouts. And
I don't disagree with that.
A lot of strikeouts now, and I think it's interesting just to see that trend of guys, and it's just kind of how the league is, and I think it makes those weak contact guys more valuable.
And Sammy, you want to hear something else that's interesting?
Yes, I love interesting things.
So just looking at Tyler Glasnow his peripherals, Tyler Glasnow ranked in the 16th percentile in exit velo, which is not good. That's a lot. He's getting hit hard a lot, which is interesting. His hard hit percentage, he ranked in the 20th percentile for hard hit percentage, 28th percentile for barrel percentage. However, 97th percentile for strike percentage, 94 fastball velo, 79 fastball spin rate, 92 curveball spin rate, 83 whiff percentage. So he's obviously has elite stuff, sitting 97.
But you see a lot of those guys,
but, we do.
But then guys hit them really hard, and it's like you're either boom or bust. You're either striking out everyone, and then you're getting these incredible starts, or you're really off, and you see home runs, doubles in the gap, hard hit balls, and I think we're seeing a lot of those guys. It's like I said, it's how the game is. It's what's up. But my underrated, I guess we can move on now.
What's up?
It is what's up. My underrated, I'm going to go with a basketball team, and I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs. They're a lot better than people are giving them credit for being. They did not have a good year last year. They missed the playoffs. It was not fun for Popovich and the crew, but they have come back very strong here in 2021. They have the 8th best record in the NBA, 6th best in the West, because the Western Conference is just crazy. 7-3 in their last 10, and they've been doing it 2 ways. One, they're a great defensive team, which is to be expected with any Greg Popovich team. I don't really care who you're throwing out there. Greg Popovich is going to give you a very good defensive team. Every year, he's been consistent with that. The offense has not been great for the Spurs this year. It's not been incredible, but they are very deep, and that's what makes them kind of a scary team if you think about it. DeMar DeRozan is obviously kind of their star guy. He is 19.8 a game, but you have, get this, 8 different guys averaging 10 or more points a game. That is ridiculously deep. You have guys who can hurt you from a lot of different parts of the court, a lot of guys who are doing very good from 3 this year, and you have a lot of guys putting up points, and that's really encouraging. I mean, from LaMarcus Aldridge to Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, a lot of guys. Kelton Johnson is electric from 3 this year. So the San Antonio Spurs have been kind of a resurgence here. I think they can possibly be a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. I think defensively, they're good enough. I think offensively, shooting wise, they're going to have to take some more steps to get there, to be a top 4 seed, get home court advantage. But I think it's 100% possible. They've been great, and I'm excited to see what this Popovich team can do. Very underrated. People are not giving the Spurs the credit that they deserve.
I agree with you. And anytime Greg Popovich is your coach, you got to give that has to count for something,
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're never going to be an awful bottom of the barrel team with Greg Popovich as their coach, because they're going to play hard. They're going to play good defense. They're going to be scrappy.
Another underrated team, and I wanted to say this, but I wouldn't bore you guys. The Bulls, and they are beating the Rockets 22-7 in the first right now. I am very excited. Kobe White with 5 rebounds and 11 points already. So Bulls are going to be a playoff team, possibly even top 4 seed. It's not out of the question.
Okay.
They're only like 2 games back of that.
I was looking at a really early mock draft of NBA mock draft for next year. You know who the Bulls were projected to get?
Who?
Scotty Barnes.
Really interesting.
That would be.
What pick do they have him getting? Like it's got to be what top?
I think it was the 8th pick in the draft. 8th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Sammy,
Right,
if they
Jack,
got Scotty
who's your
Barnes,
underrated?
if they got Scotty Barnes, the Bulls would be my second favorite team in the NBA. I would be on your
Really?
bandwagon. I mean, that's 2 FSU players. They would have to be.
That's
They would
true.
have to be. And let me tell you,
Also-
Scotty Barnes is going to be 10 times better than Patrick Williams. I'm just going to throw that out there. 10 times. He's
Hey, Patrick,
10 times better.
don't sleep on Patrick Williams.
I am the biggest Patrick Williams supporter ever. I think Patrick Williams can be a very good player in the NBA. However,
Jack, do you
Scotty
see,
Barnes.
Patrick Williams. Did you see that shot he hit the other night?
I did not.
He so he pulled up from the United Center logo on the other side of the court.
I'm not
at
going to
halftime.
pretend like I know where that is.
He just
I assume
it's
it's
in
where
Chicago.
the normal NBA logo
Yeah,
is.
it's where the
Oh,
Bulls
yeah.
play. Yeah, he's at the the logo. He's on the other side of the court. Boom, he sinks it. Just nothing but net. Swish. Ridiculous, man. He's got that range. But Jack, who's your underrated pick here?
My underrated pick. 1 second. I'm gonna go full Tony La Russa mode here.
Oh,
Tony La Russa, Skip Bayless, I think it is. No, it's I forget who the
Someone
second
else.
person was.
Oh God.
Sammy, my name is Lance Lynn. I'm gonna tell you why I think I am an underrated baseball player. You ready? Let's get after it, Sammy. I'm an underrated ball player.
All right. Wow, Lance Lynn and I mean they're on the same team now. Lance Lynn and Tony La Russa, so maybe they're like long lost relatives or something. That's very interesting.
Yes, sir. Tony La Russa is no relation to me. Just gotta clear that up here. But anyway, so I think people realize that they're starting to realize that I'm a very solid all-star caliber baseball pitcher, ball thrower, ball player. However, okay, I'm sorry, guys. We had to get Lance Lynn off of the program. He's a great pitcher, but he's not the best public speaker, not the greatest podcaster, not very entertaining. So also, I was getting kind of
Jack's
tired.
gonna have to work on the Southern accent, I think.
What are you talking about? That's Lance Lynn. He's from a small town in the South. He doesn't have, it's not the normal prototypical Southern accent, but no. But I think Lance Lynn is extremely underrated because obviously people realize that he's a good pitcher and they recognize that, but I don't think they realize that he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. In 2020, he had a 3.32 ERA. In 2019, he had a 3.67 ERA. 2018 was a down year. He had a 4.77 ERA, but his FIT was 3.84. So he was expected to have
no help.
No help whatsoever.
Oh my God.
And then 2017, 3.43. 2015, 3.03. 2014, 2.74. He's only had an ERA over 4 once in his career. He's put together a very nice MLB career. And I just don't think he gets the recognition that he deserves. Now, this year was sort of interesting because he did have a 4.19 FIP and a 4.34 expected FIP. So maybe he was a little bit better than he was supposed to be. But if you just look at his advanced stats, they're pretty impressive. 25% strikeout percentage, K percentage, which I know I said I don't really care that much about, but I got to mention it. He had a 1.06 whip, which is fantastic.
Oh, interesting thing, Jack. Interesting thing. We're talking about that exit velo list. Lance Lynn is also top 10 in allowed exit velocity. So
Crazy.
It's very interesting.
And Sammy, I'm going to tell you why I think he's an underrated player. Because you might think, oh, he's nice. But Jack, you said one of the best pitchers in baseball. Those stats, I mean, a 3.67 ERA is nice. It's not one of the best in baseball. But in that 3.67 ERA, his BABIP, which stands for batting average on balls in play, was 330 or was 322, right? 322. So you take that 322 batting average in balls in play. If you cut that down to like a good defense, if let's say the Rangers have a league average defense and that gets cut down to like 300, then that's like a 3.4 .4 ERA, and in 2020, his batting average on balls in play was .242, which is good, but I think a lot of that had to do with the shortened season. I don't think the Rangers defense just magically became good. And obviously now he's on the White Sox. He's got Tim Anderson, who's a great shortstop.
Robert.
He got a good defense. Luis Robert patrolling the outfield. So I think he is going to have a fantastic season next season. I think he's going to be an all-star next season. I'm really high on him. And Sammy, we're going to play a little game here. You ready?
I like games.
We're going to call it Rank the Ranking. So MLB Instagram page came out with a power ranking. They power ranked the top 10 teams in baseball. So I want you to guess. We're going to start at number 1 because I think it's just easier for you to guess. You're going to start at number 1 and you're going to go to number 10. And we are going to see how accurate you are. And keep in mind, this isn't Sammy's ranking. This is MLB Instagram accounts ranking. So
am I guessing what MLB is going to be doing?
Yes.
All right. Well, the Dodgers are 1. I
that
think
is correct.
Who are they going to put it to, though? Let me think here. I think the Padres could be 2.
The Padres are 2, and I think that's fair. I agree with the list.
All right. Let me think just a second here.
And this doesn't have to be like do what you think your ranking should be,
All right.
Like
number 3, Yankees.
Correct.
All right.
Now, I mean, those 3, yes, you could switch up the Yankees, Padres, but they're kind of gimmies. Now it gets interesting.
All right. Yeah, that you're right. Number 4, I'd go. Honestly, I think I'd go Atlanta.
Bingo, Sammy.
All
number 4, Atlanta Braves. 4 for 4.
Bam,
Starting off with a bang. He is hot, ladies and gentlemen.
5. All right, let's think here.
I don't think you're going to get this one, but that's probably a hint that I said that. So
I think I'm going to guess. I don't know how you're going to. I think I'm going to guess I'd put the White Sox at 5.
Well, what's going through your mindset right now? What teams are you in between?
Right now I'm kind of between the Twins and I'm the White Sox, and because I don't think the NL Central, none of those teams are really top 10. I mean, maybe none of those teams are top 10.
In the NL Central,
although the NL East, you could, I'd put the White Sox. But if you think the Twins are better, you're probably going to put the Twins. Who's at 5?
What's your official guess?
I'm going to take. I have a feeling MLB is going to put the Twins, but I think it's the White Sox.
It is neither of those 2 teams, Sammy.
It's going to be like the Mets.
The New York Mets, which I don't have a serious problem with that. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show when we do the NL East power rankings. But number 6.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Number 6.
Oh God, I checked my phone. I did see number 6, but I didn't see any of the others. Number 6 is the White Sox.
Sammy.
I'm sorry, I checked my phone.
Yeah, number 6 is the White Sox.
All right, number 7.
So this is going to have an asterisk to it no matter what.
Number 7, I guess at this point, the Twins, right?
Yes, it is the Twins.
All right, number 8. I mean, you could put a few teams. I think the Nationals are not out of the question for number 8. I think the Blue Jays are not out of. I think the Blue Jays are not out of the question. I think the I don't think the Astros are good, but MLB seems to. So
there are 3 different teams. So obviously 3 spots left. Captain Obvious. Thanks for that, Jack. 8, 9, and 10. One of the 3 spots, I think you're going to have a huge problem with. I don't have a huge problem with it, but I think you're going to have a huge problem with it. I'm not saying which one it is, but
all right. God, have I already seen this? Well, let's see. 8. I'm gonna guess Toronto.
Number 8 is the Toronto Blue Jays. So you have 9 and 10 left.
So what? Is 9 the A's? I don't know.
9 is not the A's, and 9 is the team that I think you're gonna have a huge problem with, the Tampa Bay Rays.
I I mean, I don't have like a huge problem
Really?
with
I
the
thought you
Rays.
would have a problem with that.
I,
No?
I I I do have a problem with that. I don't think they're a top 10 team in baseball anymore. I think
I
I think they're just going to prove that this
I
year.
disagree with
But I
that.
mean,
I think they're a
they
borderline
did
one.
win the AL pennant. So if you're going power rankings, I kind of understand that. I don't think they're
The
top.
Rays will be a playoff team next year. I don't doubt that.
Really? I don't
Yes,
know,
I
man.
think I'm still scared of the Rays as a Yankee fan. Like I said, I wasn't, but I still am. I
Hmm.
still think they're a, if their name weren't the Tampa Bay Rays, I would not be scared. Let
So
me just
who's
put it
number
that way.
10? Oakland?
The Astros.
Th- See, Adam, and whatever. I don't agree with the last two, but
Okay,
overall,
so
I think the list is decent.
it's not considering other MLB lists that they've done in the
It's not as
past,
bad as the yeah.
not as bad. However, if I had to make this list, so I'm just going to run down my list here. I would have the Dodgers 1, the Padres 2, the Yankees 3, the Braves 4. I would have the White Sox 5. I would have
Twin 6. I'd have
probably the Mets 6 ahead of the Twins.
I
I would have the Twins 7.
okay. I mean, I think you could change.
I
those
think
things
8.
around.
I think 8 I would have the Rays and 9 the Blue Jays. I would still have the Rays ahead of the Blue Jays. I just don't think the Rays have the pitching or the Blue Jays have the pitching right now. And I would probably put 10 the A's. I think they're a better team than Oakland
Yeah.
right now.
I almost put the Nationals in the top. I'd put the
Oakland.
Nationals in my top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I think they're
yeah,
top
no,
10.
I agree with you actually. I think the Nats, you're right. I think the Nats are underrated and we will get into that later in the show. But let's move on now to some the final offseason moves that were made. We got Fernando Tatis Jr. with the monster 14-year, $340 million contract extension. When his contract is up, Sammy, we are going to be 30 years old. Think about that for a second. That is insane. And he's the face of baseball, man. It's great for the game. I'm so happy for him.
I am. I'm very happy for him. I think for the Padres, it's a little risky. I mean, so far he's only had one great all-star caliber season in a 60-game stretch, but you kind of know he's the face of your franchise. Like Jack said, he's really kind of the face of the league. I think it's right for the league to be investing in this guy. He's so exciting, and $340 million. That is a lot of money.
I would not
That is
be
a lot of money.
I would not be unpleased if I got that money.
Nah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is the face of baseball, and he's doing it the right way. When he got the contract, he was up all night responding to fans on Instagram. He was responding to their DMs. That's unbelievable that he would do that. And
what a guy.
Some other less important moves that were made. Kevin Pillar to the Mets, 5 years, or 1 year, $5 million. He'll compete with Brandon Nimmo in center field, probably a depth piece. Brett Anderson returns to the Milwaukee Brewers, 1 year, $2.5 million. Brandon Workman, 1 year, $1 million with $2 million worth of incentives to your Chicago Cubbies. I like this move. I thought he would get more money than that.
Yeah, I think he had a rough 2020.
He did.
So that brings his.
Still, I mean, I don't know. Darren O'Day got more. I don't know. But Brian Dozier retires. He is just the epitome of class,
Oh yeah.
Professional hitter. Did it really well for a really long time.
Yeah.
Trevor Rosenthal, 1 year, $11 million to Oakland. That's a lot of money for a reliever. However, there is some funky business with the contract, so they're not paying 11 mil AAV in that year. JT Realmuto fractures his thumb, questionable for opening day, but I don't think he's going to miss too much of the season.
Still, it hurts the Phillies. I mean, we'll get into.
They're going to need everything, everyone
preview,
they can get.
But yeah, the Phillies are going to need, if they're going to want to compete, which I think they're trying to, they're going to literally need all the healthy guys they can get, all the help they can get, because I just don't think they're the deepest team that you've seen in your whole life. They're not.
Yeah, I agree with that. Domingo Germán, Sammy, it says in her notes, Domingo Germán reports to spring training. That is true. He did report to spring training. No, but
funny that's news.
Zach Britton had his press conference, and Zach Britton is one of the leaders in the Yankees clubhouse. He's a veteran guy. He's the Yankees union representative. So what comes out of his mouth is sort of like, you can kind of like say that's where most of the team is mental. Like that's what most of the team
Yep.
feels. And he said, and I quote, you don't, unfortunately, you cannot always choose your teammates when asked about Domingo Herman. I think Domingo Herman, unless I think they're going to send him down to AAA. I don't think they're going to cut him or trade him just because they do need pitching. Like they have had a lot of injuries. Clark Schmidt went down today. Here we go
Yeah.
again. But he's a piece of shit scumbag. What he did, and I think that he should be traded or cut. And I mean, I know two domestic violence guys with Chapman and Domingo Herman on your team, not a great look. And what Chapman did was very different. And what Chapman did was awful. Like, don't get me wrong. I do not condone it in any way. He fired off a gun like in his garage, not like in his wife's direction or like at his wife or anything, but he did fire off a gun when in an argument with his wife, like up the ceiling, which is not okay whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not.
Although Chapman he did the right way after it. He learned from his mistake. He addressed his teammates. He laid low. He was actually found innocent in court or something, but I mean, I don't think he was really innocent. But Domingo Herman hit his girlfriend at a gala, then went home and hit her to the point where she locked herself in a closet door. Two vastly different things. But I mean, he's not handling it. He retired last year and then unretired the next day and then apologized to the Yankees. He's just been very strange, very bizarre.
I don't know,
And
man.
he hasn't addressed. He's gonna address his teammates tomorrow because that's when all the Yankee position players get there, and then he's probably maybe gonna speak to the media tomorrow also. So it's gonna be interesting. But it's a sad story. He was one of my favorite Yankees. I think his stuff is electric, but it sucks that he's a scumbag.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, with the Yankees, you're going to need all the consistency you can get because I feel like at this point, you just have to assume that you're going to get a boatload of injuries. I feel like you're just going to have to assume that.
I mean, it is
clubhouse wise, you're going to want
one of the worst.
you're going to want, good consistency and like guys you can count on to be good clubhouse guys. It's going to be a long season. For that reason, maybe Herman won't be up on the big league team. We'll see. It's an unfortunate situation because he is a very talented player, but an awful, human being. It's unfortunate, and what he did, it's horrible. And I feel like Zach Britton did a good job, kind of addressing that and kind of representing his teammates in that way. So, credit to Zach Britton. But with more news, Yankees re-signed Brett Gardner. That kind of was a surprise to me. I thought he was going to be Dunzo. I mean, I don't follow the Yankees as much as Jack does, obviously. But after that catch in San Diego against the Rays, I was like, wow, that's going to be his last big moment as a Yankee. But
no,
he's back.
I mean, I was 100% confident that the Yankees were going to re-sign him at the beginning of the offseason.
I thought he would retire.
I didn't think he was going to retire. He came out and said he didn't want to play his last season in front of no fans. And Gardy deserves like a legitimate send-off. He has really been. He plays the game hard, the right way. He's been a very good Yankee. Not everyone can be a Hall of Fame player. He's had one of the better careers in baseball. He's been a very solid player. And as a fourth outfielder, one of the best fourth outfielders in baseball. I mean, against righties, he hits like he hit 893 last in 2019 and in 2020.
893?
No, that was his OPS. Now,
okay.
If he hit 893, he would be paid a lot more than $4 million. He would probably be paid about $40,000 billion this season if he had 893. But he's a great player. He can still play center field, plays good defense. He's fast. I'm happy he's back. Michael Lorenzen says he wants to pitch 180 innings and play outfield in between starts. Can he do it? It's going to be interesting to see. I hope he can, but I don't think he will.
Hey, I mean, I give a lot of credit to that guy. He's a fun one to watch because, he's a
great player. I love him. He's a great guy.
So I see a lot of Michael Lorenzen, and didn't have that great of a year pitching last year. Cubs blew him up a lot, but he's a good outfielder. He has an arm, obviously. He can hit the ball decent. I don't think he's going to be able to do it because that's just very demanding. But if he does, that I give him a lot of credit for that.
I
That's
agree.
very impressive.
That would be very
And
impressive.
we have two more pieces of baseball news before we get to our
Dose,
NL East
dose,
predictions.
dose, 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 dose,
Taiwan
dose,
Walker.
dose.
We talked about him a little bit earlier today. He signs with the New York Mets, 2 years, $20 million. I think it's a fine signing. I'm not in love with it, but
For
I
what
think
he
Taiwan
is,
Walker has a lot of upside. He has good stuff. I think he's a guy who is kind of boom or bust. I think he's going to either have like an ERA really close to 3, he's going to be really solid, or he's going to have like a 5+ ERA. Walks are going to be a huge issue. And I just think, it's boom or bust. And I think a lot of the guys that the Mets have signed have been pretty consistent, guys you're going to be counting on to be good. So it's fine to take a risk every once in a while, like they did with Walker. So I'm not in love with it, but I have no issues with it. I think it could turn out to be a very good signing for the Mets, and it could turn out to be a waste of money. We'll just have to see.
I think for what he is, it's a good signing. And the last piece of news today is that Albert Pujols announces his retirement for next season. So he's going to play out this season. This is going to be his last season. He's one of the GOATs, man. He is
Although
one of the GOATs.
I just saw something saying he's kind of saying not so fast. Let's see.
Really?
Still undecided about retiring. Wife amends Instagram post that was supposedly announcing it. So
Yeah.
that's what we kind of saw at first. We'll keep you updated on the Albert Pujols situation, but we do not know that for sure. I mean, he's getting towards the end though. It's not too much left in the tank for him, unfortunately. He hasn't really been good in a while.
I hope.
But yeah,
I mean, I really was wishing he got to 700 home runs, but you can't do it
we'll
all.
see.
And Sammy,
I don't know.
Sammy, Bobammy. It is time for the NL East, the best division in baseball, preview and predictions. Sammy, starting off in your 5th place in the division, who do you have?
Well, I think we're both going to have the same team here, and I like them. They had a good year last year. They beat my Cubs in the playoffs. That was just brutal.
That was awesome.
The Miami,
awesome, I gotta say.
The Miami Marlins, I have them going 72-90. They're a good team, and I think in a lot of other divisions, it's possible that they could win 81+ games, over 500. I think they're that good, and it's really that rotation. Sandy Alcantara had a great year. You got Sixto Sanchez, we're seeing a lot of Pedro Martinez comparisons, that means something from Pedro himself. So that means a lot. So Rafi Lopez, this is a fun rotation. Top 10 in the league. I think you can make a case for that. The offense, though, not really that impressed with. You got Jesus Aguilar, who had a great year last year. Cannot count on him to do that again. He hasn't been consistent enough his entire career to do that. Brian Anderson, I do like Brian Anderson. They signed Adam Duvall, who had a good year, but another guy I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can count on him to be that good in 2021. So I like this team, and I think they're heading in a very promising direction. But at this point, they're just not there yet. And they're in a very tough division with a lot of good teams. So 5th place it is for the Marlins, but all positive things really for this team going, next few years. And I think they'll be winning this division sooner than we know it.
They're a great team. You
got them in 5th place as well, Jack?
I do. And they're not a great team. I don't know why I said they're a great team. I have them winning 70 games and going 70-92. And that's strictly because of the division. They're facing the NL East opponents, which are amazing. And then in interleague play, they're facing the AL East. And it's not going to get any better in the AL East. Well, it's going to get a little better, but
I mean, that's like half of your games facing the Phillies, the Mets, the Nationals, and the Braves. That's hard. That's a lot of games you're going to lose, even if you're a decent team, like I believe the Marlins are.
Exactly. Although they have some very fun pitching, and they're one of my favorite teams in baseball to watch just because they steal bases, they put on hit and runs.
Yeah, Don Mattingly,
how they play baseball.
Don Mattingly has done a beautiful job with that team. Deserved manager of the year last year. I was excited to see him win that award. He's done a phenomenal job with these young guys. But 4th place, I believe we will be in agreement once again. I have the Philadelphia Phillies. I have them winning 77 games, 77-85. And I don't think there's too many issues with this offense. You got a few aging veterans like Gene Segura, Andrew McCutchen that I'm a little bit like, I don't know if they're going to be that great, but Bryce Harper is still one of the best hitters in baseball. Rhys Hoskins has, he's been having some really good years. 2019, 2018 was really good for him. So I think there's a lot of good pieces on this team. Romuto, of course, but he's going to be hurt the first part of the season, which is another factor. But the pitching is not good. The starting rotation is fine. You got Aaron Nola heading that department up, but the bullpen was brutal last year. They wanted to address it. They tried, but I just don't think they did enough. They bring in Archie Bradley, who I've already kind of voiced my concerns about. I'm not a huge fan of that signing. And then they brought in Jose Alvarado, right? From
I like
Tampa
that
Bay.
move.
I do like that move.
Any pitcher from Tampa Bay, man,
Yeah,
I'll take him.
exactly. And I think they also brought in, no, that's another team.
Those were the two big moves.
Yeah, those are the two big bullpen guys.
I like the Archie Bradley signing. I'm against doing that.
They're not horrible, but with a bullpen historically bad like they were, it's not going to be able to get them to a point where they're going to be winning games in this good division. Once again, the Phillies are a team. Put them in the NL Central, put them in the AL Central, maybe AL West, I don't know, some of these lesser divisions. They're going to win 85 games possibly, but they're just in a tough division, and the pitching just isn't good enough to compete with Washington, New York, and Atlanta, who are in a certain order going to be at the top of this division for me.
I agree with you. I also have the Phillies, but I have them with a little bit more wins. I have them going 82-80.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I think that, the division is tough, but their offense is really good. Their starting pitching is solid. Their bullpen is going to be bad.
But it's going to be a little bit better.
It's still going to be bad. It's still going to be bad.
It's still going to
go from historically bad to mediocre. It's going to be bad.
It's going to be bad. Bottom 5. Yeah.
Bottom 5. And Sammy, now moving on to the third place team in the division.
This is tough. Yeah.
I have a flaming hot take for you here.
Flaming hot. Let's see.
I have the New York Mets going 88-74.
Interesting. And I've been thinking of doing this, and I have the Nationals in third, but these top 3 teams, in my opinion, are all top 10 teams in baseball. This is the best division, and it's because of these 3 teams. These 3 teams are really good. They are all well-rounded. They all have very good pitching, and I think they all have good offensive teams, and they've been teams that have been pretty good the past few years. Obviously, the Nationals struggled last year, and the Mets have been a little on or off, but I think this is a fun division, and in terms of third, second, and first for these 3 teams, you could put in any which way you want it, and I think it could work. It could happen. I have here the Nationals winning 90 games. They had one of the best off seasons out of any team in baseball. You get Josh Bell, who has a ton of upside at first base, could be one of the best first basemen in baseball offensively. You have a top 5 rotation if you can stay healthy, which is an if. I think Strasburg will be back. He'll be good. But that it is a big if. Get Bell, like I said. Kyle Schwarber, huge upside, could hit maybe even 40 home runs. I've loved Kyle Schwarber.
I mean, that's a little high for Kyle Schwarber.
He's hit 38 before.
But
if he can play a full season, 40's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question, but I think that's you can expect him to do that. And I'm going to tell you why I have the Mets so low.
Yeah.
You have 2 known quantities on their team. 2 guys that are going to be 2 of the best players in baseball. That's Francisco Lindor and Jacob deGrom, right? They're going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Now, Francisco Lindor did have a down year last year, but I think he's going to be fine.
I mean, he wasn't that bad.
No. Noah Syndergaard is coming off of TJ. That's a question mark. Carlos Carrasco
was really good last year.
He was really good last year, but he's coming, he's had some injuries. He's had cancer. He's been through a lot. He's pretty injury prone. You don't know if you can, he's going to be your number 2 pitcher or number 3 pitcher because of Stroman. Speaking of Stroman, I hate Stroman. I think Stroman is so overrated. I don't think he's as
Stroman is so sad right now.
I think Marcus Stroman has the Trevor Bauer effect, which Trevor Bauer, it's not fair to say that now because he had an incredible season last season, but until last season, people thought he was so good. And he really, if you looked at his baseball reference, he was a bad pitcher. Now, Marcus Stroman is not a bad pitcher, but he is a 4-5 pitcher. He is not I think he's a average 3 pitcher. He's not a good 3 pitcher on a team. He is a good number 4 starter. He is not the Mets rotation. I am not a huge fan of. I like Carlos Carrasco. I like DeGrom. You don't know what you're going to get with Syndergaard. I don't like Marcus Stroman. Joey Lucchesi is fine. I'm not a huge fan of him. And I do like David Peterson. However, he was a rookie last year. He has to prove it. James McCann, he wasn't even the starting catcher in Chicago last year. He had a good year,
the best the best offensive catcher long term. That's not his fault.
He hasn't. I know, but he hasn't proved it long term. Their bullpen, they got some additions with Trevor May, but again, you're counting on Edwin Diaz, who, he had a good year last year, but he's a year removed from being like literally one of the worst relievers in baseball. Taiwan Walker is fine, but he's not. He could either have a 3 ERA or like a 6 ERA.
Yeah.
Jonathan VR is a good depth piece. JD Davis, I like Dom Smith. Dom Smith is a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
I think Michael Conforto is good. I'm not a huge fan of Pete Alonso. I think he's done it for one season in 2019. In 2020, he did not have a great year. He had a very underwhelming year. So it's kind of like, he's done it for one season. How many guys, Sammy, have we seen that had incredible rookie seasons and then they come in the next year, the league adjusts to them and they're not as good and they become fine MLB players, but they never get back to where they were in that rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these points you're saying are fine. And, I have these two teams, the Nationals and the Mets, who I have the Mets in second place with 91 wins. I have them separated by only 1 game. So we're splitting hairs here. This is not anything like, by a huge margin. I think the Mets, I think Cookie Carrasco, I would not be doubting him. He has been really for like the past 5 or 6 years, one of the most consistently good above average guys in baseball. And then he got cancer and then he came back and then he was really good again. So I am 100% counting on him to be a good starter. And with Syndergaard out, he is your number 3 starter. When he comes back, which he will, he's going to be the number 2 starter.
I don't think that's so impressive, though. I don't think he's a good 3 starter. Like, I think he's an okay 3 starter, but it's not like, oh my God, he's your 3. It's like, oh my God, Dinelson, what's his name? Oh my God, Dinelson Lamet is your number 3 starter. Oh my God. Trevor Bauer is your number 3 starter. It's not, oh my God, Marcus Stroman is your number 3 starter. It's okay. Like, he's solid number 3 starter. I was
talking about Carrasco, but
I think Carrasco. I'm talking when Syndergaard comes back,
he'll be your 4 starter. That's good.
I take Kluber or Tyone over Stroman any day. Even with the injury risk.
I mean, I'm not really talking about Stroman. I think Stroman is a little bit of a question mark. I think he can be very good, but I think getting Carrasco was huge. I think Walker, like I said, is hit or miss. I think he could be a huge hit. When Syndergaard comes back, guess what? He'll be your 5 guy. And if he's playing really well, that's huge. You have 5 really good pitchers in that rotation. So I like the Mets. They have, I think Lindor doesn't solve all of the offensive problems. I think I would have kind of liked to see the Mets get Real Muto. I think they kind of wanted to get Real Muto for a little bit there, but they ended up getting McCann, which I like McCann, but I think their offense is a little subpar or a little overrated maybe, but this pitching staff is very good. The Mets are a very good team, second place for them. But Jack and I, it looks like here, we're in agreement for first place with the one and only.
Sammy. You're getting overzealous here. I have not given my second place team.
Oh, you want to talk about the Nationals? Yes.
I do want to talk about the Nationals.
I like the Nationals. I
do also. I have the Nationals winning 92 games. I think that the Nats are going to go 92-75.
Yep.
I think the Nats, that does not add up to 162. We're not a math pod here. I have the Nats going 92 and 70.
92 and 70.
92 and 70.
Yes.
It's a big if Strasburg can stay healthy. Scherzer, we're starting to see a little bit of a decline. Their offense is losing Rendon was massive, but I still think they're a great team, and I am banking on both of those guys staying healthy for the majority of the season.
I mean, the offense, though, has been pretty good for Washington. Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in baseball. Turner, just turned the power on like a flick of a switch.
Robles took a big step forward last season.
Yeah,
Kyle
Robles was really
like
good.
you
And then
said.
you add some really good, guys like Schwarber and Bell.
I think Josh Bell is huge. I think Josh Bell is a little bit underrated. He had a bad season, but I think he is going to. I mean, the Pirates sold super low on him. If he returns to what he was in 2019, or even somewhat close to what he was in 2019, it's going to be scary to watch. And Sammy, drum roll, please.
Yes,
my number one team.
Yeah, it's the
is. Can you, Sammy, give a guess for my number one team here?
Well, so there's only one left, and I've said it about 3 times. Let's go with the Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves, you're a genius. I have them going 101 wins. I have them winning 101 games, going 101. And, this calculator doesn't work. We're not a math bot. I have them going 101 and 61. I think partially is this. I think they're gonna beat up a little bit on the Marlins. And I know the Phillies and Mets are good teams, like really good teams, but I do think the Braves are a lot better. I think the Braves, their starting rotation is good. They have Mike Soroka coming back off of the injury, Max Fried, Ian Anderson. Their bullpen is solid, really solid. Obviously, their lineup is one of the best in baseball with obviously Acuna Jr., Dansby Swanson, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Jinx. Amazing team. I have them as a dark horse favorite to make it to the World Series. I have my top 3 World Series teams in order are, I think the Yankees are going to make it because I don't think there's anyone in the AL that can compete. I think the Dodgers are number 1 in the NL, and I think the Braves are right behind them.
Yeah, I think the Braves, I have them with only 94 wins just because it's a tough division. But I think I have them just as good as you are. They're a great team that is just so well-rounded. Mike Soroka's coming back. They they were a game away from getting to the World Series without their best pitcher. Max Fried showed that he can compete. He's been very good. You bring in Morton, who's been pretty consistently good his whole career. Ian Anderson, who's super impressive. This is a very fleshed out rotation, underrated. Of course, the bullpen, a lot of guys who they're paying a lot of money. Like your Will Smith, who wasn't even that great. A lot of guys who have been very good that you maybe aren't paying as much money. You have a lot of room for error with this bullpen. Some guys may not be good, but other guys are always going to be stepping up. I love that about the Braves. And offensively, they're just beastly. Best offensive team in baseball. Maybe if the Yankees are healthy, I think the Yankees are better
than the Braves. The Yankees are better than the Braves. I think the Dodgers are better than the Braves offensively. I think the White Sox, there's an argument to be made. That's not true. I don't know why I said that, but there's an
argument. There's an argument. I think the Braves are right there
to be made. The Braves are right there. And Sammy, it is the time to go to the shooty hoops. It is time for the basketball. And, we don't have that many basketball topics for you today because we did spend a lot of time on baseball, but we're going to get excited for the ones we do have. Your Brooklyn Nets, Sammy, win 6 straight games. They are a half game out of the 1 seed in the East. If they do not make it to the NBA Finals, it is a failure for them. It's getting to that point. I think they're the favorites to win the NBA Final. I truly believe that. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody in that Eastern Conference that even is close to what the Nets can do. The Bucks can't even beat up the Bucks can't even win the games that they're supposed to win. How do you expect them to beat the Nets,
Yeah, I agree. The Nets are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. NBA, I'm hesitant putting them best team in the NBA right now. I think they're getting really hot. Things are kind of falling into fruition finally for the Brooklyn Nets, not the Brooklyn Mets. They've won 6 straight. The defense is finally starting to look good because you got a lot of guys who can play defense. We had Keith McPherson. He's a huge Nets fan. Come on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how a lot of these star guys, people say they can't play defense, but in reality, they can, and that's true. Kevin Durant plays good defense. James Harden plays good defense. Kyrie plays okay defense. I feel like they're finally playing good defense, and the offense has been there. That's why they're winning games.
They're not playing good defense. They're just outscoring teams by an insanely wide margin
better
because they are one of the most talented
teams.
teams. They are one of the most talented teams of all time, I believe. Yeah. Kyrie can play defense. James Harden can play defense when he wants to. Not great defense, but good enough. KD's a good defender. Kyrie is not. And Sammy, we have some breaking news here.
Breaking news. Oh boy.
We need a breaking news soundbite. Do like a breaking news sound.
Breaking news. Da-da-da. What's the breaking news here?
I mean, some more energy, please. This is breaking news. Like breaking news.
I got
breaking news. Da-da-da. It's not anything crazy, so don't get your hopes up. But it has been confirmed by sources that Deshaun Watson would approve trades to 3 different teams. Can you guess these teams?
The Bears are not going to be one of them, and I'm going to be very sad.
The Bears are not one of them.
It's going to be the Jets, the Dolphins, and
5, 4, 3.
I don't know. What's the other one?
The Panthers.
Ooh,
the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Panthers. That's kind of interesting. I don't think it's big news. It's not anything that, we kind of could have guessed it. And Sammy, the last topic on today's episode, the last topic of the week, Sammy, is your Chicago Bulls, the best player on your team. Zach Levine gets hot. He goes for 30 points in 4 consecutive games, and 3 consecutive games before that.
He had 30.
He is on fire.
Oh my God, man. And I've been watching all these games, and this is such a fun team to watch. Zach Levine is playing amazing, out of his mind. Fourth quarter, he's the top fourth quarter scorer in the league. Like statistically, that's a fact. He's winning games for the Bulls. He's been great, but
I
keep reading comment sections, and I keep seeing these things that anger me. I keep seeing people saying, "Send him to the Lakers, send him away, get him out of Chicago." And these people obviously don't know what they're talking about. They haven't watched any of the Bulls games because the Chicago Bulls are a good basketball team, and they are rapidly improving. At the beginning of the year, the offense was there, and the offense has been there because they have a lot of weapons, but the defense was horrible. And now we're seeing guys step up defensively, and one of them, Zach Levine. Not only is he a top 15 scorer, probably higher, top really 5, top 10 at least in the league, he's becoming a very good defender. He's taking tough assignments, and he's playing them very, very well. And the Bulls are rapidly improving in so many departments. This is going to be a team that we're going to see in the playoffs. I feel very confident in that statement. They're playing good basketball. Zach Levine has been a huge help. He's super hot. He better be an all-star. I'm telling you, I will be very upset if Zach Levine is not an all-star.
We will get I don't think we've had Mad Sammy once, and it was when the Cubs got swept.
Yeah.
We tried to get him mad. I don't think it's really worked. I don't even know if he was that mad then. I was listening back to
trust me. Maybe I don't convey it as well as I should. I don't
think it's fair to say you're mad. I think you were miffed. Is that a fair assumption to make? Yeah. You were miffed. Sammy.
I will be mad if Zach Levine is not an all-star because he should be. Like the Cubs, they didn't deserve to win that series. Zach Levine deserves to be an all-star. He's got to be an all-star.
Really, Sammy?
Yeah, that is going to do it. We're done.
And we're done. We're done. It's been a long episode. So if you made it this far, thank you. And Sammy, can you give me you're the music guy. Give me some emotional sounding music. Some sad music.
Sad music?
Yeah, like sad music. And keep it going.
Yeah, I can't do it on the spot here.
Yes, you can. Do. Something sad. That sounded like the Jurassic Park theme song, but give me something sad.
Not on the spot, man. I can't do it.
You're making me look really bad here. So, okay, Sammy. Everybody, get close to your phone or your computer or whatever you're listening to this on right now. It was an emotional journey. We started off with the Carson Wentz trade. We worked our way down to the Tatis extension. We then made our way to the JT Realmuto injury. We went after that to the NL East predictions and previews. Then we went to the Nets and Levine.
Levine. Levine.
Incredible show. Emotional roller coaster. Emotional journey. And we were on it with you guys. And we appreciate that every step of the way. So a round of applause for the listeners.
That's true. Yes, you guys are pretty cool. You're all the way back here. That's very cool of you guys to be here.
And we're going to cut this right now because the episode is running long, but we love you guys. Appreciate you every day. We think about you guys. Sammy, any last words?
No last words. Fun episode. Lots of sports. But the next time we'll be recording this, there will be spring training baseball games being played.
There will be games being played. There will be games. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I know, so
excited.
I think the double fist bump.
So excited. Give me one more double fist bump before we go. Boom. Sammy, take us out.
Bye.